we're back for our part three.
Cool. So we ended the last moment at you rushing to get there first and getting to the doors. Just a couple seconds too late.
Things are not coming up keel today. She keeps trying to do things the right way, like by the books way, and then it just keeps on not working.
This is the world of Blades in the Dark, R.C. Thorne.
No one listens to me. I had it. I had the plan.
It was a great plan.
I don't know.
All right, and it's the same thing of knock, knock, and enter.
Cool.
And it's a real quick knock, knock, enter.
And you definitely see, obviously, Matissa Eric is there, and she's talking to Strangford. And Strangford sees you come in and nods at you like he's almost like either he's been expecting you or he's like, I see. What do you do?
I look at Matissa and I walk up, stand next to her, so that we're both kind of facing the captain. And I was like, I have news from engineering. I look at her like.
Captain says, yes, she's the head of engineering's been appraising me of what's been going on down there. It seems like it's not exactly a triviality.
It turns out to be much more. Yeah. Yes. What has the? And I'm still just like looking at her. I'm like, what has? She
totally just turns away from you, and she has. So you notice that she's no longer in engineering. She's still wearing her uniform, right? Like the crisp uniform, or it should be crisp, but like in engineering, it gets a little soggy, so it's not super great. But,
sure.
And you see her. Again, she's sweating much the same way she was in engineering. So obviously you caught her saying something and she's distinctly uncomfortable now that you're here. But she performs with the exact same intense focus and rigor that she has in engineering, where she looks at the captain and she says, as I mentioned, the suspicion of sabotage certainly can fall upon someone, but the only person that I noticed handling that part was the quartermaster, who notably took it off. I don't know if this was to hide his misdoings or whatnot, but that is the only report that I have for you.
Yeah. So I want to outbluster her. And I say the quartermaster removed this part on my orders before it could be hidden by the saboteur that put it here. And she like pulls it out. I think I still have it. I didn't. That's okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You dropped it off. There was that dramatic.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and this time, instead of like slamming it down, I place it on the I place it on the desk, and I say an iron pipe where copper fittings should have been. Any engineer worth their salt would have known this. I know this. One of your people sabotaged the engine. And I turn back to Strangford and I say, it is more than a trifling matter. I imagine it was just a failure on engineering, not sabotage. And I'm totally looking at her like, you fucked this up. This is you. And a little bit of Harrington is like twisting in RC's head of like, I'm not letting Harrington go down for this, and I'm going to make her go down if that's the case. If that's the case.
You really don't have to even mention me, honestly.
Well, she already did. She was already running. She was already driving that bus over, hitting it in reverse, rolling back again. So,
yeah, I think that
I want to win Strangford over and put her in the hot seat to provide an answer.
Beautiful. So I'm gonna ask you to roll here.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you're in a little bit of a tight position. So I don't know. What do you have that's that you feel is appropriate here? What trait do you feel like you might be rolling here?
I think first mate is appropriate.
I think it might be the only thing that's appropriate. Yeah, you're basically saying like, hey, I've got rank. So let's see how that comes across.
Yeah. And I will ask again if the evidence matters or not. Does Strangford care about that?
The problem is that her evidence is that multiple people spotted Harrington pulling that piece off too. So both of you have cases. You're like, listen, this is engineering's fault, and her case is the only person that's been seen handling that part is Harrington. So both of you have stuff to back your claims. So the question here is really, does Strangford side with you because you're his first mate and that is the appropriate action here, or is there some other factor on the table really? So like in on a ship, whenever you have a he said she said kind of scenario,
Yeah.
a lot of times it's resolved by rank, and sometimes like how long somebody's been on board.
Yeah.
So
Well, we're gonna find out. This is a test of Strangford right now.
roll them bones.
Yeah, it adds up to a 6.
So
Aw.
I think that there's a little bit of an interplay, like Strangford and Eric kind of like look at each other and you realize that both of them are nobles and you're a little outclassed here. Matisa looks at him and says, look, I'll vouch for my people in engineering. I don't know that Ms. Thorne here, and she doesn't give you your proper title, right? Because you are first mate.
Yeah.
She says, I don't think that Ms. Thorne here can say the same of every person on the ship, including all of the crew that's under her.
I throw the thing down on the ground and I punch her across in the face and I say, it's been broken for 2 days. And he just removed the part 20 minutes ago. It's impossible that this was Harrington, you lying bitch. And I look at her and I'm like, you're going to admit it or I'm going to beat you more senseless. I would like to roll Enforcer right now to clap the shit
I'll give
out of
you
her.
a +1 for escalating.
Yeah, I'm escalating this. And I have like logic on my site. He couldn't have
Absolutely.
sabotaged. So I'm rolling, and let's see if this can save me. Save violence will save RC. I wonder if. No, well, I mean not no, but 5.
It's okay. I will tell you what the effect is. Like as you're kind of demanding that she says something, and you're about to go at her. Strangford's cane comes up between the two of you, and he gives you a look and he says very calmly, discipline is the lifeblood of every ship, and then thumps his cane down and looks at the engineer who's got like blood coming out of her mouth, and she's just got like a cut lip because you like decked her pretty hard.
Yeah, I decked her hard.
And he looks at her and he says, 1, there is a chain of command on this ship, and 2, you have 12 hours to elicit all the repairs that you need, or I will find another chief engineer. And it's pretty much all he says. So she stands up, gives you a glare, and doesn't admit wrongdoing. And goes to stock out. And Strangford turns back towards where his nautical maps are, and over his shoulder says to you, if she doesn't fix it in 12 hours, feed her to the sea.
And this is why RC loves Strangford. See, he's my damn hero. She doesn't say that.
I love that this madman who's making totally off-kilter decisions is your damn hero. All right.
Yeah. Are you frozen, John?
He's just happy.
You're just happy that it's being
He's
blamed
just
on
holding
someone
it.
else.
That's how happy he was.
Kind of progress. I'll take what I can get.
You'll take the
Although I
chief
do like
engineer.
the idea that Harrington is such an awesome saboteur that he could mess with the part after it was broken and that caused it to be broken. Like he has that like super time travel
It's
saboteur.
not acting. Yeah.
Secretly, we know that like an hour in, John's gonna be like, flashback. Actually twisting the part and being like,
I was just trying to get some extra water. I didn't break it.
Nice.
or maybe I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it's possible. Yeah.
That's possible. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. So let me ask. So we know that Dee was chummy with the engineers who are on their lunch break. Do you stick around there? Do you cut it short?
I think she's going to plant the seed of paranoia amongst them all and then leave. and see what else she can stir up.
So I'll give you a tidbit that you notice before anybody else does, because everybody else is like indoors and doing stuff. As a matter of fact, fun fact, on a big ship like this, the thing that pulls you all the way up into the rigging like is called the bosun's chair. Did I mention I've been reading a lot about boats?
For 2 weeks? Yeah.
All right, so one of your deckhands actually makes the call out first, and the call is resounded, and then they actually like are going to activate the horn. That's actually your job in that little cabin amidships or whatever. But they spot one of the hunting vessels coming back, and they're doing the little like lamp signaling. So you're going to get the news first, which is to say that they've spotted what they colloquially term as star sign, i.e. they have some sort of trail of a Leviathan, which, by the way, they're humongous. They're bigger than the ship is. As a matter of fact, you can't actually pull them out and put them on deck, kind of stuff. So, yeah, that's the news. Now, what this tells you is that there's more people coming, and you're going to get to be the first person to greet them, and it's your job to kind of like inform everybody else. So let me know what you do with that.
I take so much credit as much as possible.
Okay.
Sean, you're muted, but I can see you like fist pumping over
It's
there.
okay. It's okay. You got it. I was chewing, so but yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, she's gonna be the one to let out the the rallying cry and start getting people whipped into shape and be there ready to greet them.
Awesome.
And she's gonna do a lot of where's that first mate?
Oh, awesome. Are you actually not send somebody to get RC and you're just
no.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, she keeps asking, where's the first mate?
Sort of making RC look bad here. Cool.
Not so
As if she's making RC look bad. It's
not D, not good old reliable D.
I gotta wonder at this point how RC was a stayed first mate for the next 10 years, but
well, we might
I don't know. I don't know.
So the boat docks. RC, you get the mentions like a bit late, mostly because you spot it through like a porthole or whatever.
Yeah. Now, is this the Wave Runner or the Star Dancer?
This is technically the Star Hunter.
Star Hunter, sorry.
Yeah, and it was out way too late, so the people coming back are like extra thirsty, and like they have been out of supplies for a while, so this ship was expected to be done. But no, it comes.
I thought that was the other way around. I thought it was the Wave Runner that was out. Yeah, I think it was the Star Hunter that like had stocked up enough. It doesn't matter, but it's fine.
No, the Star Hunter comes back, and they do make it back, but they're limping in.
Okay.
So we'll just go with it, and if we got it wrong, chat, forgive us. We'll make the corrections at some point at a later date, or leave it in the notes. The doobly doo. So what do you do? And I also I extend that question as well to Harrington. I don't know, where do you hang on your off hours, Harrington? I really just kind of want to know, like, because your job is mostly to keep appraised of stuff. It's not really your job to do a specific thing per se.
I have a decent trade out of my quarters of contraband. That
what sort of what do your quarters look like? Tell us. So like the captain's quarters, as we mentioned, are kind of spacious and a little bit opulent. Now most crew members that don't hold rank have bunks that like are thin, and they're mostly just like a couple of beds and a couple of chests to hold the gear and stuff. So a lot of the crewmates sleep like 4 to a small cabin. But as the quartermaster, you do have your own room. It's not super spacious, but it's like a small bedroom would be in our lives. So what does that look like?
It's small and cramped. It has a bed built into the wall. And a small desk with a ledger and pots of ink and pens. magnifying glass and odds and ends.
Is there lots of papers or little notebooks with papers
Yeah,
sticking
there's
out
little
of them?
notebooks. There's the top of the desk has little cubbies to stick paperwork in, and they've got old worn labels on it that the previous quartermaster used for some kind of system. His papers are still in there. I haven't looked at them. But then the front, like right behind that, is some barrels and bits of luggage that are stacked up. It makes the room look like it's filled with stuff. But I can just move those aside, and behind that I have my either like stuff that I've skimmed from the ship's stores or contraband that I've arranged to have on board to sell to crew members. So there's like drugs of various sorts. There's some fineries, tobacco, soaps, all kinds of things that people might want.
Creature comforts.
See, yeah.
So what you're saying is that you're the vice provider on this boat.
Mhm. Yeah.
Some of them might have gambling, some of them might have other vices, but in particular, luxury and stupor. Definitely, you're a big vice provider on the ship.
Yep.
Nice. So do we see people there? Is there like a high side? Is there any specific
I think
thing that you do?
back to see what Harrington's doing. He's like making an arrangement with one of the deckhands, and he's saying something like, I think I made it clear that the first one was free, so you can understand what kind of quality we're talking about here. But I don't care who your daddy is, honestly. When on this ship, everybody pays. Ask anyone. It's fair is fair.
What kind of payment do you take? Is it straight coin? Is it scrip? Because a lot of people on the ship are actually paid from the money that's made from delivering the Leviathan blood.
Yeah, right.
They're paid on credit.
Yeah, exactly.
Chits and things.
Um,
Yeah, I accept everything, and there's like a complex system of exchange rates that really fuck everyone over just every which way. So I'm like, well, I mean, if it is with chits, it's double right now because but if it's coin, like there's all this like crazy exchange. If you have any tobacco, I could reduce that. Hang on, let me look at my 4.7%. Depends on the tobacco though.
Yeah, it's like pawn shop tactics of giving people nothing, like bottom dollar on what they bring in, and
Exactly.
overcharging everything, and not on. Yeah.
But it's all about making a deal, and like I think the only reason he's still doing this is because he really likes RC, and because there's these opportunities for crime, essentially, that he just keeps finding ways to turn working on the ship into personal profit. So that's what he's doing.
I am morbidly curious someday to see how RC Keel or RC Thorne at this point and Harrington became such fast friends.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Maybe we'll have to have a further flash.
But I have to say, I
Young
totally
RC,
understand
young
why you are our supplier at the beginning of Bloodletters right now.
Yeah.
Like deeply, deeply understand.
I decided not to play against type.
Awesome. So sure enough, you hear that there's a ship coming in and they're super low on supplies, and somebody comes to basically tell you that you're probably going to have to deal with that and do the requisitions and the reorders and things like that. So you know that through official channels. I don't know what you do through your unofficial channels. But that's the scenario with you here.
The Star Hunter they've been gone an unusual amount of time.
Yes. As a matter of fact, they were sent and they were supposed to circle back a lot sooner than this, to the point where Harrington thought that they were gone.
They were lost, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he reacts to that news like not necessarily regarding the current crisis. Someone tells him that, and he's like, "Oh, okay." He leans out into the hallway and like looks at the several people that are waiting in line, and he picks a likely one, like one that's like a drug user but not too heavy, kind of owes him, seems okay, not super unreliable. Like, yeah, you're fine.
You'll do.
He drags him forward. He's like, "Good news. You're the quartermaster's assistant. Grab that, and that. Grab that valise, the black one, not the black one. Come with me.
So I think that the next shot is the two of you moving, and this person's like carrying the stuff behind you and goes, "Does this mean I get a discount?"
Yeah. I'm basically going down to give free samples to our hardworking men and women of the Star Hunter who've been lost at sea. And this is like, hey, I got your back. I understand it was harrowing out there probably. Everything was horrible. Harrington has what you need. It's on the house. Enjoy yourselves. Knock yourself out.
Okay, awesome.
If you ever need anything in the future, you can always,
So assume you're doing this quietly, like in the galley.
Wherever I think I can intercept that crew,
Cool.
like once they've filtered in through the ship and they're going off to their bunks or whatever they're going
So they're telling some interesting and tall tales, which I'll fill you in on, but I want to check in with Dee and RC here and figure out what they're doing. So Dee, I know that you've been kind of like bad-mouthing RC a little bit, and you get a chance to like actually welcome these people on board, and you see them, and a lot of them are looking haggard. A few of them are looking very intense. As a matter of fact, the captain of that boat, whose name is Oland, he presses your hand, like shakes it almost like he's greeting you as if you were the first mate. I don't know how you feel about that. And immediately says, like, I need to talk to Strangford, and doesn't use his proper, like, Captain Strangford title. And it doesn't be a thing of disrespect. It just seems like he is intense and drained and exhausted, and it just slips his mind kind of thing. It definitely wouldn't in his presence, but yeah.
Yeah. I think she says, of course, let's go right now.
Awesome. So RC, you see the two of them going up the stairs as you're coming down. What do you do?
This is like my life today, because I wanted to go see the captain to get a report. So my thought was the ship's coming in. I should know this. And I see them coming up.
Oh, are we crossing like right into each other?
Sounds
Yeah.
like we're crossing.
You can be. So maybe.
Yeah. Oh, great.
Maybe you can try and divert them. Maybe RC, you spot them, but you see them turning. I don't know. How do you want to play this out?
No, it's great because if I see RC, I'll definitely just be like, oh, RC, where have you been? This is our first mate, RC Thorne. Captain here needs to talk to the other captain. Important captain stuff. So I'm just bringing him there because he couldn't find you.
Thanks, Dee. I'll take it from here.
All right, then. I'm going to keep looking into that morale problem. I'll check in later.
Awesome.
And I'm remembering Harrington's wisdom here of watch for her.
Harrington's wisdom.
Yeah. And I sort of fall in line with Captain Norland. I step beside him so that we can walk together. And I say, and I try to consort with Captain Norland.
Oh.
Yeah. To like, I'm like, I look at him. I can tell he's panicked, and I was like, what can you tell me of you've been out longer than we expected. What can you tell us?
So I think that as you're walking, he like lengthens his stride, and he's like a big burly dude with a big bushy beard.
A beard. His beard is so bushy it has an accent.
Sorry, it's actually a line from Hot Fuzz. And unfortunately now I can't say big bushy beard without big bushy beard. But he like grabs your shoulder and shakes it. Now, mind you, you know this guy. He's actually he's loud and kind of passionate and larger than life. But you don't usually see him this like animated and excited. Like he tries to maintain some sense of I am the captain, particularly in front of like people. You've had dinner with him because whenever the boats are in, Strangford usually has like a dinner. He has like a captain's dinner, and their first mates show up, and it's usually fancy and Adela actually has to like cook up something special. She has a particular like night sea eel recipe with like some morels from the mainland or whatever. In any case, he grabs your shoulder and like shakes it, and he's like, RC, We might make our 30 barrels yet. And you know, he seems like excited and intense. He's like, he tells you, so there's going to be an interspersed, like if this was the TV show of this episode, right? There's these interspersed cuts where he's like, he's telling you that they caught up to the ship that had gone out, and together they went, and like then it goes back, and like one of the crewmen from the boat is actually from the other boat, and he's talking about how like the stars in the sea went dark with the ink, and then it like switches back to him, and you know, he's like, you know, we had to look for this, and then we spotted it. We had like storm on the horizon. We could see like, you know, the lightning inside it. We pulled ahead and we actually got stopped because there was this like mess of things, and we saw the Leviathan beneath the waves. You know, like we had the spotters that they actually had these like sections of the ship that actually look straight down into the water. There's like a glass bubble in the bottom of most of these boats to actually view beneath. And then, you know, it switches back and it's like, she went mad! You know, it's like talking about like the person that was spotting this thing, and like, they said that this one had so many eyes! And then like it switches back to him and he's like, but it's a bigger Leviathan that we've seen in like this season. And like by the time you get to the door, you know, like he doesn't even bother knocking. He just like pushes the door open. And then, you know, it switches back and he's like, you know, the men are talking about how huge it was. It's like, it was this big. No, it wasn't this big. No, it was as big as like half of Duskfall. And, you know, they're like yelling at like bigger and bigger, like, you know, it's a tall tale kind of thing.
Sure.
And then it switches back and he's reporting to Strangford. And what he says is that they gave most of their supplies to the other ship. And that's why they came limping back. See, I played off of what you said earlier.
Got it. Nice.
And what the other ship is doing is tracking it and leaving buoys so that you folks can pull up and essentially like follow it in, right? But he's like, but we got to leave now. You know, we barely got in. Let's get the resupplies on.
Let's get those engines going.
Yeah, right.
I was just gonna say,
Right?
did we just kill those engines? Yeah.
I don't know. Let's make a quick fortune roll. I'm gonna ask my dice.
Yeah, how
Actually, you know what?
Can we cancel that before it happens, or are we now?
You know what? I'm going to say yeah, because I think that I haven't been meticulously following chat yet for a little bit, but I assume that everyone wants to see a Leviathan hunt. So that's where the big special effects budget is going to get blown.
Blueprint says yes, so I say yes.
All right.
Or YARP rather.
YARP. NARP? No, YARP.
Well, no, I mean, I'm totally happy. I'm totally happy to go down there, and they're like, I'll turn the engines off. And first you'd be like, turn the engines back on.
Yeah.
Right?
Giving that conflicting order, chaos, and, you know, everyone's gunning the engines when they're having, you know, when they should be cooling down.
How many oars do we have? A lot? Like a whole lot.
So Harrington, you're in the middle of this thing where people are telling tall tales, and you know, you're doing a little bit of glad handing, but what are you doing with this scenario? Do you capitalize on it? Do you just listen? Do you make notes? Do you have plans? What do you do?
I mean, it sounds to me like those people are gonna need some heavy duty for getting scary shit drugs when they get back on the ship. So I talk to them and like getting some names, you know, like who especially is gonna need those drugs, whatever they're into. I mean, honestly, yeah, I care to some extent. Like it's a profit opportunity, but also the news that we've found a Leviathan is great. It's good for morale. Presumably people get hazard pay or something, so they're a little more economy in the ship running around that will drive contraband sales. So that's always good.
Also, this is gonna sound a bit callous, but it's the truth of the matter. People die frequently on Leviathan hunts, because those things are huge and deadly. But when those people die, that means that there's more shares to go around, which means that there's more profit, and then the hazard pay on top of that.
Yeah.
People feel good and they spend more money than they probably should, is essentially where I'm getting at.
So could I do a quick calculation on like average deaths per hunt versus our water supply and how we're out? Like, could I do a quick rough estimate and be like, if we actually do go on a hunt, that'll buy us like a week or so?
Yeah, it should roughly. Yeah, that's almost exactly what you're getting at.
Okay.
I like the idea that you have like your ledger and there's just like all this random crap in it. You're like scribbling in the margins to do the math.
Yeah, the ledger. Once we get a nice close look at it, it's like 99% contraband tracking. In the margin of a page, I'm like writing about the actual job. Like, like, there's a note that says like running out of water question. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I actually do bother to calculate like, okay, this is good. It's good in every way. You know, it's good for morale. It's good for the ship. We have to hunt. We have to keep our quota up. It's good for our water stores because we'll have fewer people to drink. Yeah. So great. This is exciting. I'm excited.
Awesome.
I think I would go try to find RC probably.
Cool. RC, you're listening to these two captains talk, and there's a book that Strangford has. Actually, you see like he pulls out. It's a sequence of scrolls, and some of them are very old, and some of them are much newer. And what happens is the other captain, Captain Oland, convinces him, and what he says is like he's like usually the hunting vessels will like spear the critter and like bleed it, but what he says is this critter is so big that the hunting vessels alone are not going to be sufficient. They're going to need the actual like big boat to come in and use its like main weapons and all of its like additional crew and stuff like that in order to like deal with this thing.
Need to Voltron this shit.
Yeah, essentially. I love the scared look that Harrington got there for a second. He's like, wait a minute, this wasn't part of the deal. What do you mean we're going there?
Yeah, if I actually arrived during that part of the conversation, I'm like, excuse me?
And what they're doing, actually, so this is a thing. So Leviathans are actually demons, as we all know. They're the demons of the Void Sea. And all demons are, in essence, to some extent, named and unique. So what they're doing is actually trying to categorize and classify it, because some Leviathans are hunted periodically and they like either heal or replenish or show up again. And some of them actually have broad similarities in categorization, right? Like that there are certain traits that appear on certain kinds of Leviathans that indicate certain things that they can or can't do. And how they must be handled.
And this one, so far we know, is big and has many eyes.
Yeah,
really
right?
big and many eyes.
Right. And so what happens is they're pulling out the scrolls, and they're like, for those of us watching the TV show, we see like silhouettes of these things drawn and like, you know, books scrawled and like mad script that somebody like recanted their tales from the sea or whatever. And so what they're doing is they're basically like cross-referencing and trying to find out what clues they can find out about this thing.
Sure.
Which is when Harrington arrives. So I don't know, Harrington, do you walk into the captain's quarters? Are you like peeking around the door and like giving RC the high sign? What are you doing?
No, I just walk in.
Okay, awesome.
If it looks like it's like a powwow of officers, then I'll just walk in like I'm supposed to be there.
Oh, you walked in? Dee was waiting outside, you know, like cleaning her nails with a knife.
I
leaning up against the wall.
Yeah, I wouldn't
listening in.
I wouldn't walk right past you like you weren't there. I would totally like approach you and be like, so they're like officers meeting in there for the officers for the ship?
Captain's meeting. RC just kind of walked in with them. Sounds like we're gonna be going.
I mean, if you want, you could like be my like +1, because I probably should be in there, and you know, if you wanna like tag along, that's cool with me.
I'm fine out here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go into the officers meeting, and then maybe I can like tell you what we decided after it's over. So, sit tight.
Yeah. Make sure that you give your opinion like a lot.
Yeah, I definitely will do that. Thanks, Dee.
No problem. Harrington.
Things are just completely iced over out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, they're just like there's no more. That's gone. That's out the window.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. So I go in and I like close the door, like, you know.
Nice. And Nursey's in there when you come in, and she like partially because I want RC to have like seen these things, and because she wants to help, she's like grabbing books and trying to be and flipping through them as well, presuming that there's that she's not getting in the way. Maybe even if she is getting in the way, she wants to, was it this? You said many tentacles, right? So she is attempting to help for what it's worth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I come and like peek over your shoulder. Chad has a great idea. I think it'd be funny to cut out in the hallway, and like the quartermaster's assistant is like standing there holding a bunch of stuff.
Yep.
It's like stuff.
Staring at the door, like
He told
the
you.
quartermaster's assistant, which is a random sailor, right?
Yeah.
Did he tell you he'd give you a discount? No. Okay. Yeah. No, you should wait here.
Settles down next into like on the wall next to you, and it's just like, yeah, I should wait here. And doesn't put the stuff down. It's just like standing there.
You're new, aren't you?
No. What? Obviously.
No. Maybe this like 20 minutes. So damn.
It's not brand new. Obviously, didn't just teleport into the middle of the sea, but has this their first season, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yep.
He probably knows everything about them, their name and who they're married to, and everything.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Shall we make it up? Do you want to know?
No.
Okay. Awesome. But you know it if it's important.
Yes.
Sounds great.
Nice.
I don't know if this guy's really all that important. He kind of seems like scenery.
It becomes important by you folks interacting with him.
Yeah.
All right.
So that is how it works, at least in the games that I run. If folks are like, yeah, I want to know more about this person, I'm like, oh, well, they just got a name. So,
you have a name, guy.
His name is Colin.
I like it. So Cole walks in, right?
Spelling it with a K, just so you know. Carry on.
Yes,
Go on.
I hang around and.
Yeah, the captains have their heads down and they're pretty focused, so they're not aiming to catch that you're there for like a couple minutes. So you folks have a second or two to exchange words.
Yeah, and I get the sense that probably like I've been trying to help, but I think I'm outclassed in this regard, and have duties to do, like getting the ship ready to go. So I'm kind of, as you come in, I'm like, it could, maybe it's the, and then see you.
I like shaking my notebook because I don't know what's going down yet, and I'm like, figured out a way to stretch the water for another week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're good. I wouldn't worry about it. What's going on in here?
We're going on a hunt.
Oh, yeah. That's what I heard.
Like right now.
I tapped the notebook again.
Nice.
Yeah, right now. Great. Cool. Who are they sending?
All of us. Actually, yeah, I know that at this point, right? That was
all of
yeah, all of us. And she gets this kind of look in her eye because RC has served as a hunter. She's like, yeah, all of us. It'll be like the good old days. Cool.
The what now?
Yeah.
Oh.
We're like us?
Well, if we're lucky.
You volunteered, didn't you? You did, didn't you?
This might be the biggest prey we find in the season.
Biggest prey they find. Them, the hunter boats.
Come on, I know you like that hazard pay. And the glory. And your own personal spoils. Relics you're carving off. I remember you swindling that lady from the little nodule. You
voice down. Navigation vectors.
Water supplies.
I think there's obviously no real threat here. The captain's like, look up for a split second. Like one of them just like cocks an eye when he hears navigation and vectors, and then like looks back when it seems like you folks have things under control.
We're conferring about getting the ships ready. I think this should, unless you have a thing, I think this should smash cut to all of us. RC in the engine room screaming, "Turn them back on!" And then we see the Nightbreaker and the Star Hunter plowing at maximum speed in that direction.
Literally, my only plan was there looks like there's going to be trouble, go to where RC is and be close to where.
So maybe there's a shot of actually RC standing on what equates to the command deck that actually has like windows looking out, and the ship like spins up to like running speed and it starts like pushing itself forward, like its engines like definitely like filling up, and it takes a little while to get moving because it has a lot of mass, and we see it like doing the thing where it's like you see the like little hunter boat like pulling ahead and like bouncing on the waves and like all that stuff happening. But what they're doing is they're actually preparing for a fight. So one of the things that they're doing is they're actually running chains across the deck, so that you have something to like grab a hold of, like when the ship is being tossed about and everything.
Nice.
They're bolting and sealing certain sections of the ship that don't require people to be on them immediately. One of the things that happens is they're actually preparing what is like the equivalent of the sails. Like if you remember when you started out, there was this horrific gale, so it's not impossible for these ships to like actually catch wind. But they take down the sails and they actually like prep the masts. And as you guys are sort of like headed towards where the Leviathan is, you realize that there's this where the Leviathan is, there's also a storm spreading out. One of the things that happens is they actually prep the masts such that the lightning strikes are hitting the masts and not the people. And that is actually partially what they use. Like they turn on the capacitors and they prep to actually use some of that power to essentially go to combat speed.
A metal conduit to sort of make it as a lightning rod.
Yep.
Nice.
And then they start doing certain other prep. They bring up there's these like giant harpoons, and there's like actually we've seen them before in the background, but now we actually see them like pulling the tarps off of like they have these giant harpoon guns, and they have these like huge harpoons that are brought up, and your ship actually has a spirit warden on it who's overseeing this, and you can see like that they're like specifically carved, and like it's obvious that they've got some like Wuji shit going on.
Nice.
And they actually like bring them up and they're stacked. For a second, everyone like here is like, oh, are these logs? No, they're actually carved from Leviathan bone. And that they start bringing them up on decks. They start putting them next to where the like harpoon guns are. Below decks, they're actually like preparing weapons and whatnot. You see the hunters come up on deck. They're like cracking their necks. They're like putting on, like gas masks and like heavy armor. The spirit warden actually brings up a case and opens it, and there's spirit bottles, and they actually like inject, like they put electroplasm onto their backs, and you could like see like one of them like crack one of the like lightning hooks that like activates.
Jesus.
Yeah, they're totally getting ready for this shit. And just because this is how it works, they actually bring out a cage filled with people who they throw overboard when they need to get the Leviathan to stop smashing the ship to run away. They're like prisoners and whatnot.
Yeah.
Folks they don't like. There's probably some Skylenders in the batch. So yeah, that's the battle preparations for the ship. Like it's obviously like going in. Energy is high. You RC know that the captain is a little bit concerned because one of the things about hunting Leviathans is that, as I mentioned, each Leviathan is unique, and they don't know all of the details of this one. Like they don't know which one this is specifically.
Yeah.
And they haven't hunted this one before. And you don't know if your ship has the right modifications, weapons, appropriate electroplasmic gear, etc., to deal with the specific nonsense that this Leviathan comes with.
Yeah, right. We're going. This is the unknown, but we're kind of forced to, right? We're so low.
Yeah, you're making you're this is basically the talk shit roll crits moment, right? Like,
that'd be nice.
You definitely know that Strangford has made the call to abandon the last ship that was supposed to come in, leave a buoy for them, and basically take off in this direction and he's going to make the call that himself and the two hunting vessels are going to attack this thing. So I'm going to set the scene here a little bit more. Just before you strike it, you can see it on the horizon.
Yeah. There's a moment. There's a moment where all that gearing up is happening, and there's like a mini version of that happening with RC and Cole, where she's like fastening his strapping on his thing, and like it's not the full armor, but it is like getting on throwing a bandolier of electroplasmic ammunition over his shoulder, and like checking checking the guns and the bayonet, like the lighter arms that the non-dedicated hunters are using, right?
Yeah.
And she looks and she looks and she pulls out the necklace. She pulls out the chain that the engagement ring is hanging on, and she says, "Well, if we make it out of this, Harrington, I'm getting married." Or he said yes, rather. Like I think he knows like RC's life. Like this is like Jillian is something special.
If you think he would, no, yeah, that's.
I think so. Yeah. I don't think she would have kept that secret.
Okay.
But if I don't, but if I don't, and she I don't know what she has of value, but
he's gonna cut you off right there.
Yeah.
He's like, no. Look, first of all, I don't need another errand. Second of all, come on, you're RC Thorne. You make it out of everything. Don't talk like that. And he like puts the ring back in your shirt.
Yeah.
And he's like, show me which end of this thing shoots the gun.
Shit, Cole. Come on. We went over this.
And he just like, he's embarrassed. Like he has feelings, and he's happy for you. So he's like changing the subject. He's like,
nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
So D, this is kind of your glory moment, right? Like you've got tons of people that are listening to your orders. The decks are all awash with folks doing their things. Does Dee do anything in particular or have a special moment? Does she have a special friend, or has she backstepped her way up past all of them? What does your prep look like here?
I think she's kind of doing a little bit of everything, where she's making sure that people are getting deployed, and she's got a couple runners, and she's keeping tabs on everybody and kind of cheering people on and getting them all pumped up for this.
Is there like a particular thing? Do you have like a sea shanty you like to sing, or?
I think they have kind of like a call and response.
Oh,
it's not so much a song, kind of like a chant. And they'll be doing that a bit, and it's got different parts for like the different groups. Okay. So it's also her way of kind of like checking in and making sure that people are like good to go. Is this little call and response chant?
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. All right, so as you folks get close to this, as I mentioned, there's this storm of brewing above this thing, and you're forced to slow down a bit because there is unexpected debris, which is to say that there is a shit ton of broken boats and like half sunk hulls and things like that there.
So not the
just
Wave Runner, like multiple ships of
not just the Wave Runner.
Right.
This is the kind of shit you hear stories about, right? Like a graveyard of ships kind of thing.
Wonderful.
Yeah, just like, oh yeah, we gotta loot the corpses.
We should drive our boat into the graveyard of ships. I think.
Yeah.
I like the idea that it's like the trash heap in the ocean. It's just this flotilla of graveyard ships.
Nice.
Moves around.
Yeah, I want a smash cut of like the ship, the Nightbreaker going and going, and then like some little ship just exploding when it hits it.
Nice, yeah.
And just blows up as we plow through.
Yeah. So in order to be able to like withstand stuff and also to deal with some of the stresses of the night sea or the void sea, sorry, the front of the Nightbreaker is actually like metal and it goes up and over, and so it looks like it has like a doubly reinforced front because it's supposed to like ram into Leviathans, and there are certain Leviathans that have shells that you have to crack, and there's all sorts of like things that attack from the front and scrabble on it and so on. So its front is actually like scarred, right? And it's like its prow has a figurehead that actually has its like head broken off and its like arms off and everything, right? And so like it's using this, and like actually the Nightbreaker sometimes hunts in the northern waters where there's sometimes ice and things like that. Although ice appears arbitrarily because physics is really weird on the void sea, and there's sometimes when you're like, are we close to like the south? Well, great. This time of season, it could be anything. The water could just turn solid. Who knows? But yeah, definitely you see that prow hitting into a boat, and you see it like go down and then start to crack, and you see it like just like cut right through it and just push its way through, because it's got those like, it's actually got like engines fueling it as opposed to just oars or something. But it looks like, yeah, this is essentially like the trash heap in the middle of the ocean. There's like a shit ton of boats here. And so you see your little hunting vessel like pop out, and like the people on top are like signaling, and they're trying to figure out where the hell your last hunting vessel is. But they're, who's shocked here, not getting any response.
Oh no.
And as a matter of fact, you folks are like sort of navigating through these piles, and you find at least like one hunting vessel that's more modern. It's got the like reinforced metal and everything. And then as you look forward, you see that sort of in the center, where the storm is thickest, so to speak, there's like a formation of clouds, and coming up out of the waters in this like greenish light that's coming down from the sky, there is these massive tentacles that are reaching up into the clouds and stirring them, almost as if this particular Leviathan is somehow dancing with the storm. And that's it.
That's it. That's all.
That's all.
That's all there is. The giant flotilla.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if we want to take another break and then come back.
Yeah, why don't we take a break and then come back slamming our prow into the front of this piece.
Nice.
Sounds good.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Get this rolling if I can.